this staff you see here is two. It's just two in the whole of Nigeria as a federation.
Okay.
One in the north. One is with the Sultan of Sokoto, and one is with my grandfather, His Royal Majesty Ogbuefi Ojiako Ezenne. Yes. Given to him by Queen Victoria. Whenever this sword comes out, it doesn't go in without taking blood. Yes. So he doesn't come out anytime or anyhow. So whenever he meets danger, once he brings it out, it must go in with blood. Every morning, once that ekwe is being beaten, that gong, once they beat the gong, people from nearby towns, other towns will hear it. Okay. So once they hear it, they will know that Ogbuefi has woken up. So he's ready to attend to people.
Hello guys, this is Colonial TV. We are live and direct in Adazu Nuku, in a local government of Anambra State, and we are here to tell the story of His Royal Majesty Ogbuefi Ojiako Ezenne. We are going to meet his grandchildren and maybe one of his children, direct children, who will tell us more about this great man. This history, just wait for us and follow us. Before then, you have to share our video, follow us, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you will be seeing more of our videos. You hear? Just follow us. Let's go to the palace and tell the story and tell the history. Understand?
This is Ojiako Ogbuefi Ezenne. So according to history, the time of his estimated birth was 1857. And by 1907, he was given a warrant chief by the British Colonial Masters. And he contested for it. He was not given the warrant chief arbitrarily. He contested for it. And there's a warrant chief. He ruled, and they ruled very well to the expectation of the British Colonial Masters. And because of his exceptional performance in the court, he was made a member of Agglomerative Court. So by 1914, he was appointed, like you can see the archival record here, he was appointed the president of Agglomerative Native Authority Court. So because of this appointment, his area of jurisdiction extended beyond Umuahia to Riverines area and the Port Harcourt areas and all these things, you know. So in 1915, the British Colonial Masters had already abrogated slave trade. But go to the riverine areas. Those trade were going under, slave trade, they were going underground. So Ojiako himself, being who he was then, traveled to there. Then summoned a meeting of 45 chiefs, warrant chiefs that are governing the riverine areas, and mandated them to stop slave trade with immediate effect. And that slave trade stopped immediately. You know, that singular act alone by Ojiako, by Chief Ojiako Ogbuefi Ezenne, endeared him tremendously to the British Colonial Masters. You know, he had for a lot of favor from them. And what he did in the riverine area, a report was written to the Colonial Office in London, which the Queen, you know, received and was very happy about the whole deed. So in 1921, because of that singular act, he was elevated from warrant chief to the paramount chief, the chief above all chiefs. You know, because of this singular act of slave trade, that gave him sole authority. Now every other chief under him, and he remained there. He was a powerhouse. He was authority, you know, authority of himself. So whatever judgment he passed, the Colonial Masters, after studying it, upheld it. You know, writing that if they were them, they wouldn't do otherwise. Even John Rose, when he was living at Yorka, then the next Colonial Master that will refer him, there was, you know, there was an intelligence report from John Ross to the next, to his predecessor, that he should be very careful of Ojiako, although he's an illiterate man, but he has native intelligence. And when you are dealing with him, assume as if you are dealing with an average British man. Is there?
So it's a British man who is saying this?
Yes, a British, yeah, the John Royce.
Huh.
You know, the DO in charge of water.
So he is an illiterate,
yes.
But if he's dealing with him, he should know he's very brilliant, as like you are dealing with average
British man.
That is Igbo intelligence.
So from there, the man has said, okay. And in 1912, he brought a church, a Catholic church from Integer, because Integer people rejected the Catholic Church, and he wanted to give his subjects education. He brought them to others. He sent wagons, those wagons drawn by horses then. And most of his brothers, went and they carried their properties and brought down here. Then the Reverend Father Bebendorf, he gave him this house and about 12 teachers, now teachers. He fed them and paid them for 12 years, and they summoned the surrounding 9 towns, and he asked them to be sending their children to school, St. Andrews, and he paid for their school fees for that 9 years, for that 12 years,
single-handedly.
He was a rich man. He was trading on ivory, spirits. He was a merchant trading on ivory, spirits, arms and ammunition. He had a lot of people, hundreds, cultivating. He had more than 10 acres of land in Ukuru, where they are cultivating yam for him.
As of then,
his brother Noli was supervising. Then go to Oboji or Onitsha. He had a lot of lands where they are cultivating. So he was a rich man.
And in Ukulu.
In Ukulu, every day people from surrounding, they come here to eat. He fed them.
Okay.
So he did singular, and a lot of them he married in this our town. He married the wives and gave to the 4 people, and those some people who didn't have a land there, they would now secure, paid, and gave to some people that had that had not any land. So because of this, his attitude, his benevolent attitude endured into the people. In every town you have good, you have bad.
Yes, that's
so
it.
Out of all this years, when you are doing good now, the good people will appreciate you.
Yeah.
And the bad, So that is it. That is the man Ojiako for you.
I need the history of this. And
so because of that abrogation of slave trade that we are going underground, when he was elevated to a paramount chief, Queen Elizabeth II brought this, and that this thing was made of gold, and this stuff of bronze.
Queen Victoria.
Yeah, Queen Victoria. According to history, what we had, they say this staff we are only 2 in Nigeria. One to the chief of Northern Protectorate,
has been established,
and the one to the chief of Southern Protectorate.
So, but sir, you said that he helped and stopped the slave trade going secretly. So, but then it's the white people who brought the slave trade. How then are you saying that the chief in Nigeria stopped it?
The white people brought the slave trade. So at this point in time, people all over Europe, they were against slave trade now. And most of the blacks that were sold over there, most of them have emancipated, know their rights and all the so there's cause all over. There was protest about this slave trade, and most of the blacks that were sold into slavery, most of them became millionaires and became owners of land and all this. So because of that now, even the white people joined them in fighting against the slave trade. And by then, the white people, Britain, the chief architect of this trade have been developed. They are developing their machines. Industries are spreading off and all this. See, and they're looking for a way, to lubricate their machineries for industry. And they discovered oil in Nigeria, and by then, this palm oil, and by then, it was a tremendous big trade, as lucrative as slave trade itself. And there was a treaty, by the Westerners, that is, when I say Westerners, the Europeans, that we engaged in, formerly that we engaged in slave trade. There was a treaty that the slave trade should be stopped.
Okay.
And even in the high oceans, they brought ships, warships and all these things that would be searching every ship that was selling on the high seas, searching for trade, slave trade. And if they caught anyone, the person, and you are one of the slave trader, and you signed the treaties, you are done. You will be prosecuted in the international court and all these things, and the person will be sanctioned adequately. So because of that, and by then the British people, they have entered the hinterland and saw this oil and all these things. That was what brought the judge of Opopo into trouble, because he refused them going into hinterland. So they wanted to use oil to replace slave trade.
Yes.
But along the chiefs, the normal, that's the easiest way to get money through slavery.
Yes.
And all these things. So they were catching people and disposing them into slavery and all, in order to stop. The British wasn't happy about it, because they have discovered oil. And this Niger something Royal Niger Company, they were fast expanding, approaching the Niger, securing all the oil trade and all and Nigeria. Eastern region was one of the chief producers of palm oil and all this. So they don't want to engage in illicit business again, which was slavery then. So, they want the thing to be stopped, so that they can arbitrarily and solely control the Niger Company, because Niger Company is an offshoot of British government.
Okay.
So that is another way, another name for the British government. They were engaged in trading through the Niger Company.
This is history. So that's when he came in and
Ojiako, being a warrant chief,
yes,
being president of Agolo Native Court, because Agolo Native got their jurisdiction extends up to that river Nile area, Umuahi and all this. They, so he used that his authority as the president of Agolo Native. Yes, he went there, summoned 45 chiefs in 1915. I think it's there. Look at it. Abolished the slave trade into the thing stopped in total.
In all ramifications.
In all ramifications.
This is great.
You see, and because of that, the colonial masters, even the DO here, wrote a confidential report to colonial office in London, which they passed to the Queen. Okay. He was the representative of the Queen. That's why he said His Royal Majesty. The Queen made him her representative here among God. This Ojiako.
So that is where the staff now came in.
Yes.
As a gift.
As a gift, and as a thank you gift and recognition of a job well done.
So, but this one, is it? Can we see, like, is it the staff? Is it still there, or even the cap?
I would bet this thing is still.
Okay, it's still there.
Yes, it's still. Staff of office is still.
Kept in solitary confinement.
Yes, we are nobody, no, because there is.
Okay, I understand.
Yes.
Okay, this is hippopotamus.
Hippopotamus.
It was designed by Queen of England.
The thing just came like this.
This is not original of it. This is original. This is not original walking stick. The original is somewhere.
Only family knows.
Solitary confinement, like I said.
Yes.
Solitary confinement.
Wow, that's good.
And where this statue was standing was his grave.
Oh,
On top of his grave.
Yes.
so this is where he was
Buried.
buried.
Yes.
Wow.
And this statue was erected in 1992.
1992.
Yes. And when they dig out the grave, they saw
for this foundation. For the
the foundation, they saw his body.
fresh.
Fresh. No decay, nothing. It's just like if somebody is sleeping.
For real?
For
Yes.
Any picture? What like can we like how do we not know that?
Those guys,
I'm telling
the
you.
guys that came for it.
Yes.
That did this work. That did this work. Ran away.
Run away.
So which means the man is a saint.
Yeah, they started writing.
Even till now.
Yes.
Talking about it. That
They wrote to the Pope to make him a saint. I don't know. Maybe because he was a black man.
fresh.
If he was not a white man, they could have made him a saint.
Now this is eye-opening.
You know?
I have never heard this.
I'm telling you the reality. If you want, I can take you to one of the builders, contractors that build this thing. You hear from him.
Michael, his son, Michael Ogbuefi Ojiako Ezenne, to come here with packs of drinks, hot drinks, and whatever.
You know?
He sat here calling him, making libations, calling him and telling him that what they are doing is not to stop him.
Okay.
But nobody knew that he is as fresh as this, that he's still fresh. That is just to beautify
He's still
him.
coming out to inspect his compound and this Obu.
Who? So which means he's a saint now. But how did you know that he's still coming?
Tell them.
So I was saying, my brother have told you about this staff.
Yeah.
So this staff you see here is two. It's just two in the whole of Nigeria as a federation.
Okay.
One in the north. One is with the Sultan of Sokoto, and one is with my grandfather, His Royal Majesty Ogbuefi Ojiako Ezenne. Yes. Given to him by Queen Victoria. The same Queen Victoria gave the other one to the Sultan. And that's the only place you meet it. And this is a symbol of authority. And in every family, any family you meet this, what it means, if you read the details behind this staff, it means that wherever in any family it is, that family has been bequeathed for royalty, for eternity.
Yeah. So,
that's what it means, and that's exactly what's happening with the Sultan's family.
Okay.
Yes. So this, as you see it here now, it has a whole lot of explanations to be said about it. So this is a symbol of royalty in perpetuity.
Okay.
That's what it means. And then it came along with this cap. It came along with this cap. And this cap, our grandfather kept it somewhere.
Yeah.
By himself. Yes. And this one is kept in solitary confinement.
Okay.
By us.
Okay.
The sons and the grandsons.
Yeah.
For safety.
Yeah.
And this is the amambu I told you about. The sword made of wood.
Okay.
Yes. Whenever this sword comes out, it doesn't go in without taking blood. Yes. So he doesn't come out anytime or anyhow. So whenever he meets danger, once he brings it out, it must go in with blood. And then, if you know about the sword, once he pulls it, he will succumb. He's a very kind man. He has this. He's kind. So once you succumb, he won't use it on you. But what he then do is he will use the surface of the sword on himself.
Yes.
He will use the side.
Okay.
He will just touch the side to his feet. Once he touch it, blood will come out. That's why our fathers told us that here he has scars.
Here.
Yes.
Because of the kind.
Because once he brings it out, it has to go with blood before it can go back to the pack. And so, but if you beg him, he won't use it on you again. So what he'll just do, the only thing he will do is to touch the side of that sword on his leg, and then he will bleed. He will then touch his own blood on it and put it back.
Much. So, but the sword, where is it currently?
Solitary confinement as well, because they are very important properties to the family.
Yeah.
So
It's a generational symbol of
kept it.
power.
It's solitary confinement for safety.
Okay.
So that is it. And then you asked about how we got to know that he's still moving around. He's still around.
Yeah.
He's still very much around. Like we told you, that the corpse is still fresh. Like they used to say, if it is in church, in the church, they say he's a saint.
Yes.
And I think some have been talking about it. They have been talking about it, and they're in the process, I think.
Okay.
They have been talking about it, that he's a saint. And then something happened some time ago. My brother arranged somebody. We brought somebody for the PVC of our Obu. So as the man was doing it, he couldn't finish it. So it meant he came from Enugu. It meant he will have to sleep over. So we gave him a mattress. He said we shouldn't worry, that he will just sleep here, so that the next morning he will complete the work.
Yes.
That night, he ran out. He said that night he saw a man, a huge man, walking around this compound.
Very black, carrying lion.
That the man was carrying lion. And you know, if you see some of the pictures of our grandfather, there's a picture where he stood on a lion.
He stood on a lion?
Yes.
Normal lion?
Yes. He was.
I told you
he took picture of it. He killed a lion. So he stood on it and so a leopard.
So
yes.
Look at the lion.
So
see, you will see lion. Leopard.
So he said he saw him carrying the leopard and moving around, a huge black man moving around the compound. He ran out and he refused to sleep here again till we finished this work. Okay. So by the time he came and told us, we laughed because we know it's him.
Okay, who is talking? Who is talking about?
Yes, we know who he saw.
Yeah,
it's peaceful, but the point is, you cannot bring anything wrong here, and you cannot take anything away here as say you want to come and steal. There was a time long ago they broke into this place, took out. There's this gong. They call it ekwe, very big one. It's taller than myself. It's there. They use it to wake him up every morning. Not as in waking him up, but they call it using it to wake Ogbuefi up. But what it meant was every morning, once that ekwe is being beaten, that gong, once they beat the gong, people from nearby towns, other towns will hear it. Okay. So once they hear it, they will know that Ogbuefi has woken up. So he's ready to attend to people. So people who has complaints, people who has case, people who has something to come and beg him to help them, people who needs to come and beg him for help, maybe money or to train their children or whatever, they will know that Ogbuefi has woken up. He has came down from his house and entered his Obu, ready to attend to people.
Wow. Okay. So normally,
so there was time they came to steal that. They carried it out from there. They got to the gate, brought it back again, took it inside the building. They were doing it like that. People came out watching them. They kept doing it until they went and called one of our fathers. He came and tapped them, and they knew themselves. So some suggested that they should arrest them. They should do it. They said no. They warned them, don't try to do this thing again because you cannot succeed. But next time you come, whatever you see, you take. Okay. And they left.
And before he died, he called all his children and requested them that anytime he died, before they bury him, they should call the police to witness his burial. Or else his enemy will capitalize on his burial and inform the white colonial masters that he was being buried with heads. And that will cause a lot of problem for his family. So he requested his children, before they bury him, they should provide 7 peacocks. Abi?
Yes, peacock.
7 peacocks and
7 ebony.
No, not ebony. This ugo.
Yes, dove.
Not
dove. Ugo.
That is
ego. Yes, 7 ego.
Yeah, 7 ego. They will use those 7 peacocks and 7 ego to bury him. no human being.
instead of human being.
And the day he was to be buried, the policemen, they surrendered here, they witnessed his burial. And that 7 eagles were buried with him.
The 7 peacocks and the 7 eagles
were buried.
with him.
He said if it was in those days, before the advent of the colonial masters, he's supposed to be buried with 7 times 7.
Head of human being.
Yes.
He's supposed to be buried with 7 times 7, which is 49 heads.
And then,
To tell you,
something again. You know, I was telling you something about Ezenne, that's Ojiako's younger sister that was caught when they came for the Nkwochu, and then he was sold into slavery. So, but destiny followed him, royalty followed him. So, by the time they took him out for sales, they moved them. They got to the riverine area where they will be shipped to overseas, to wherever they want to sell them as slaves. Then the Amayanabo of Abonima, that is the king of Abonima, saw her and watched. I said, there's something about this little girl that they should bring her out of the line, from the line of slaves already, that he should bring her out. They said, why? Those that already want to make sales. Say, they should bring that girl out. They brought the girl out. Eventually, he married her. And he became his wife. She became his wife. And later, the brother, Ojiako, sent Noli. Noli went there. She became his wife. It was the king of Abonima that married her, Mbuafo. Yes. There she became a queen there. Because she was a princess.
Visiting here.
She was a princess in her father's house, but they stole her away in order to extinguish the royalty from our lineage. So they were able to get her, sold her away. She ended up a queen. So instead of being sold, a king saw her. Yes.